everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, I'm going to be giving you some shocking insights into the Udemy price action and the lockup period. Alright, welcome back. First in this video, make sure you like, subscribe. The more says get, the more content we can make. The number one reason why you subscribe to this amazing YouTube channel is to get the money-making trends before they go mainstream. Alright, so let's take a look at Udemy here. Yesterday, after I made the video, there was quite a bit of price action. And just to be clear, I don't think Udemy is a short. And what happened is I made the video probably around somewhere in between this here, and then boom, it went up a whole 10% yesterday. So that is pretty good price action. It went from about well, a little bit more than that. Well, maybe not 10%, but I think it was closer to 8. But nevertheless, it went from 27 all the way up to 29.50 almost, right? And as you can see, it's been pretty good here, and right now it's down today. It hasn't been up for a month here, but it's down today. But again, Udemy it does have a pretty good business model. I'm not the kind of person that would short it. Again, I'm not the kind of person who likes shorting things. There's a few things I do like shorting, but I generally don't, just because a short squeeze can completely wipe you out and more. But it's a little too risky for me, and shorting Udemy itself would probably not be a good idea, even though I talked about how Upwork went down about 70% before it went back up. And again, part of that decline in Upwork was due to the 2-month recession we had at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. So because of that, the stock markets went down a bit. Okay, that's fine. But that's part of the reason why it rocketed up so much. So will it happen to Udemy? Well, it's nobody's guess here. If you really like Udemy, I would dollar cost average it, and I'd pick a position here. And right now you can see it's exactly kind of at the IPO price-ish at around $29. So it's not necessarily bad here. And of course, whenever I say something like, oh, I don't want you to short Udemy, of course it's going to tank as soon as I say that. Of course, that's kind of a joke because, well, whenever you say something, the opposite happens in investing. As a little bit of a joke, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we are talking about the lockup period. So if I go to the SEC report here and I type in lockup, right, and there's a whole bunch of different areas that we can have here. You can see on the right-hand side here, and let's just take a look at the lockup period here. And I've been kind of going through this here, and I just want to get back up to the top here. Okay, so if you don't know, when you IPO, some of the investors might have a lockup period, meaning that you cannot sell. All right, and that's totally fine. Usually this happens, it's just probably standard practice here. But the thing that you need to understand here is this: 180 days. Okay, so we have 180 days, and so that's basically from this Monday. And what that means is that in 180 days, the investors will be able to sell after this lockup period, or at least some of the investors, the bigger investors, do. Because when you're a retail trader, and retail, of course, means that you're just kind of an average trader, that you're not attached to an institution or anything. But if you're a retail trader, you can kind of get in, get out. You can sell anywhere up to $100,000 of the stock, like today. You could buy 100,000, you could sell it most of the time if there's most of the time, not always, of course, but 10, like 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. Like, this is not something that is too big of money. But if you want to sell, like, I don't know, 2 million, 10 million, like there's some other things you might have to do in order to do that. And that's what this is supposed to be here. So one thing you have to understand here is, what is 180 days? Well, let's take a look here. Now, I've gone to this time and date here, and I've gone ahead and I've calculated the date here. And basically, this is the result here. So this is probably the day when, well, I don't know. This will be the day when it will be very important to Udemy investors. And the reason for that is that the lockup period ends. And so if people think that the stock will go up, they will keep their stock, maybe even buy more. And I think that you can even purchase more in between the time here. But if they don't think Udemy is going to go up, this is the day that everyone will sell. So I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, the stock continues to go up and up and up until that date. And then, we might see some people just take their profits here. Now, one of the best investing tips I've ever received is that, let's say you put in, let's say $5,000 into a stock and it goes up. Well, one thing you can do is you can always just take out that $5,000 and then just ride the profits from there on in, right? So, let's say you put in $5,000 and you triple it up to 15, right? Well, you can take out 5,000 of that, and then you now have 10,000, and then let's say you lose all that 10,000. Well, you didn't really lose any money, really, because you took out your initial investment and you just basically ride the wave going forward. And the other thing you can do is you can always take out your original investment and invest it in something else. So that's probably one of the best tips I've ever received, and that's something you might want to do too. And people might do that here. I don't know what the institutions are thinking. Again, when you think of it from just a basic practical use standpoint, Udemy is a place where people go to buy courses, to upskill, because people need to continually upskill their skills to compete in the world. And, this happens all the time. And I'll give you a good example. For years and years and years, I made iOS courses, mostly by myself. And what happened is that there was a way that you could design the app, right? It was this kind of like drag and drop thing that you would do in Xcode, which is the application you use to make apps for iOS devices like the Apple Watch, the iPhone, your Mac, etc., right? So there'd be this drag and drop thing. And then one day they decided to just completely just stop that, right? They decided to add in a Swift UI, which is kind of like a markup language like CSS. It's not exactly like that, but they added that in there, and then it was completely different, and I had to learn how to do it here, right? And so, if I'm an iOS dev, I need to find an instructor I like, and I need to be able to upskill my skills quickly, because if I'm competing with, let's say, 10 other developers in my team, I got to go do that, right? And that's just a good example of an upskill case. And this happens all the time, right? When I first started Udemy, machine learning wasn't really a thing, and now it's all the rage. And who knows what's going to happen next year, right? Or the year after that. There's going to be something new that comes out, and there needs to be people that need to be trained in it. It happens all the time. There's always going to be a course out there, and Udemy is pretty broad that it could just be anything. It could be cooking, it could be horseback riding. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Udemy is in the good position to do that. So from that point of view, Udemy does a good job. The caveat to all of that is how well is Udemy managed? How well are they growing, etc., and what is their plan? And of course, I don't agree with their plan to go subscription. And I've talked about this on the channel before, and I keep talking about it again and again and again. You want the marketplace to be scalable. We want businesses. We want people to invest in the course creators themselves and the businesses themselves, like my business, right? It is very difficult for me to do that. In fact, if I were to go into a VC and say I want to make Udemy courses, that's not a good thing, right? Like, they're just going to laugh me out of the room, which, well, has kind of happened before, believe it or not. Not that I was saying I was going to make Udemy courses, just these online courses too. So there isn't, in the e-learning space, there's a ton of investments in the platforms, but not the content itself. And that needs to change. And whatever, and that's why Udemy is so amazing, is that it's a marketplace that could, in theory, do that. I can go into a VC firm to get funding for a game, a Netflix movie, an Amazon product, but I can't do it for a Udemy course, right? Or course company. I cannot do that. There has been one, which is a cloud guru, which recently exited, and I'll be doing a whole video about that. And that's really good, and I'm very glad that happened, but that needs to happen more and more often, right? So that's something that you need to be aware of. And the thing that makes Udemy special is the marketplace. It's the a la carte purchases from all of the customers wanting to connect with instructors. That's the value. It isn't the value of a subscription. That's the wrong way to go, and I'll continue to say it. And you might see some different. You might see some growth in the subscription model, but in the end, I don't think it's probably a good idea, because you want the marketplace, right? So I did a whole video about why Kickstarter's marketplace is a lot better than Udemy's marketplace. And here's the thing about Kickstarter, they don't pay for traffic. The creators pay for their traffic, right? And since the competition is so big in Udemy, you could have creators paying their traffic, but there's no upside for me to pay Udemy any kind of traffic, right? So as you can see, as I was talking, it has gone down a little bit here. Don't worry about this price action here. Again, I think Udemy is a buy, but there could be some fluctuations because nobody knows what's going on here. The big thing here is the 180 days, okay? 180 days, April 27th. There you go. So that's pretty much what you need to be looking for next April. And we should have some quarterly reports in between now and then. And I don't know when they're going to do it. Are they going to do it in January? Well, it's not quite a quarter. Are they going to do it in March? I don't know when their next quarterly is going to be available, but nevertheless, I am looking forward to reading it, and you'll be able to get an analysis on what it is here. And of course, please push them on the topics that I'm saying here, because I've been pushing them for years, and I've seen, well, basically from someone who's been working in the industry behind the scenes, kind of year over year. While I'm bullish on Udemy, it could be 3 to 10 times better than what it is, but it's not, right? And that's why I'm making these videos, all right? So that concludes this video. If you're an investor and want a consultation, I have my my contact information down below. Please contact me there. And if you really like this channel, you can buy our digital products because we don't do a Patreon. And if you really like this channel, you can subscribe to our digital content. We release 20-60 hours of fresh new content per month, every single month. And with your help, we can get to 10,000 paid subscribers where we can release 200 to 300 hours per month, every single month. And we need your help to get there. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. You make not only this channel possible, but you make my company possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.